Hey there everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychek with Queen Bee Creations, and today we are going to do another little page in our watercolor journal. Now I have just done washi tape around the outside just so there's a little bit of a border and to kind of keep me between the lines, keep me on the page. This is just gonna be something I'm thinking kind of fun, kind of whimsical. That's what I'm aiming for. Just so that we know that as we're trying to play with watercolor, that they don't have to be all serious paintings, right? We can do some fun stuff and just play with it as well. So I have my watercolor set. I was looking for my smaller one and I remembered it's in my bag to go to and from the hospital for, you know when you're visiting and you're at the hospital a long time and whoever you're visiting, they're just snoozing. And so I have needle felting in another little watercolor journal. I haven't had the courage to pull out the watercolors yet, just because people come and go and then they want to see what you're doing. And I still don't feel comfortable enough for people to watch me doing that. Needle felting I'm cool with, so I'll needle felt in front, but just kind of passes the time a little bit. Plus, I always have a book. So I just spritz the watercolors so that they are wet. I'm not going to be doing any fancy color mixing. I'm going to be able to use them straight from the palettes, and we're just going to have fun. So I'm going to pull you overhead, and you can kind of get an idea of, what I'm doing. We're doing fun and funky and whimsical, because why not? Okay. What we want to do is, let me move that out of the way there, is we want to start laying down some color, and your little bird can be virtually any color that you would like. I've got my watercolors are wet. I would like a little dish. Okay, have one on hand, perfect. So just so that my color isn't so saturated coming right off of my palette, but I want to kind of start with just, a little bit of color here. And what I don't want is for this to be I want it to be kind of loose and a little crazy. So I am looking at just kind of making the bird, if this is going to be kind of the head up around here, what would be another color? Maybe I could do, I wonder what color that blue is. Yeah, let's do a bit of a blue in there, a little bit of a blue bird. Because this is just a fun, whimsical bird. I can make my bird any color that I want, right? And I'm just layering some of that color over here. And we're just kind of keeping in mind that ultimately, here's some of the bird. I'm leaving a space because that's where I want the feet to go. I want to have a bit of a branch. I really love how that's bleeding in there. So, with color, so just a little bit more of that blue dropped in with a little bit of that water. And here's where we get to play, right? Just dropping in a bit of color, trying to keep it a little bit loose. My loose is always kind of regimented, so I'm trying. I want to leave a little bit of space here for eyes and beak that isn't so saturated with other colors. And once I have this kind of rough shaping done, I do want to let this dry. So rough head, body, a little bit of kind of the tail going off my page here, right? But ultimately, we need this dry before we can do the rest of what we have in mind. So you can either use a heat gun or to let it dry, or I'm just gonna wait it out naturally. This isn't fully dry, but it's dry enough for us to just grab a little bit of an orange color. Maybe I still had blue on there, but I'm adding a little bit to the yellow that I already had on a tray, just so it's not so in your face. And I just want to add a little bit here. This is a little brighter than I want, a little bit more paint than I want. So I'm just gonna take some off with a cloth and then add that back in a little bit. And what I want is to just also add in, get a bit of an idea of where I'm gonna put their claws on my branch. And then I want to grab a brown. Where's the brown? Okay, here. Now, with my brown, what I don't want is tons of paint on my brush. What I'd like to do is take my brush from the side and fairly dry and just kind of drag it along so that it doesn't hit evenly, right? You can see how you've got all the dry pieces to it. That's what I wanted from that. And then let's take a little bit of a green. And I'm just, you know, primarily using these straight from the palette, but you know, you can mix it with a little bit of the brown, whatever, it doesn't matter. Take a little bit of it off. And I just want to add on just a couple of little leaves here and there, just to identify that that's what's happening. So maybe one up over here. So we've got 3 little leaves. We've got our bird. And now I want this to dry for sure, because the next step is we're going to come in and we're going to add details with ink. Now what I want to do is just take like a gel pen and I want to add in just some details here. And I don't want it to be too precious. I don't want it to be too perfect. But I am doing a whimsical bird, so I want him to have kind of bigger, kind of crazy eyes, right? And just kind of start to very loosely outline things. So I don't want it to be So the idea behind today's watercolor is just to take something that's kind of a familiar shape, just a bird, which is pretty simple, and just to kind of paint it very loosely, kind of do something that's a little fun, a little whimsical. It means your bird can have any color that you want. It doesn't have to be a true to life bird, but you know, make them kind of crazy, have them looking in different directions, have a whole branch and a bunch of birds all in a row, but just doing something a little fun, not taking your watercolor so seriously. I mean, I gotta tell you, my favorite part is doing a little bit of that dry brushing technique on the side of the brush, dragging it across to do kind of that rough textured branch there. I love that. And I think I got to try something with trees now where I'm doing the same thing and using that. And that's really what it's about, is that you're playing with something and you're less concerned about doing it perfectly so much as we're playing, we're trialing new things, and we're discovering some little tips, little ideas that may work for us in something where we are attacking it a little more seriously than maybe we are this particular project. Even fun, whimsical, kind of crazy little watercolor practice sessions can lead you to learning and identifying some terrific tips and skills and techniques that are going to help you on either a larger scale or something bigger and more serious. I think these would make cute little cards. So doing up a bunch of these and then putting them onto cards so that you have all kinds of different little gift cards would be a really cute little idea. Let me know what you think of this one, guys. Look forward to hearing from you as always, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.